Welcome back, everybody. I think we didn't lose anyone, actually. So today we will continue the further of our focus with Pierre Lungheretti. Pierre Lungheretti is head of Cite Internationale de la bande dessinée et de l'image. You can see the setting is quite obvious. And this institution is quite important. Actually, it's central in the landscape for the bande dessinée in France and abroad. Since Pierre took over Cite, he developed a lot of activities, exhibitions, archives with the museum, and a lot of international networking. So, Pierre, if you could explain maybe briefly what is Cite, and then the topic of today, 2020 year of bande dessinée.
Okay, I'm very happy. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you today. Yes, first of all, I will present you the Cite Internationale de la bande dessinée et de l'image, which celebrates its 30th anniversary this year, at the same time of 2020 year of comic. And the Cite gathers the only museum which exists in France, which has the most important patrimonial collection in Europe. We also have a Maison des Auteurs, which is House of Authors, which is an international residence of comic authors. We also have a library at the same time with public lecture collections and patrimonial collections. We also have a bookshop, a very important bookshop concerning comic. And also we have a cinema and a kind of alternative space, which we call New Factory, which is a space for experimentation with comics and other artistic fields. And we have about 12,000 meters square for the three different sites of La Cité. And the institution organizes, as Didier said, exhibitions, but also we have each year about 50 authors in residence. We also organize conferences and international symposiums on different subjects concerning comics. And we organize different actions of transmission and educational programs with schools and a lot of structures in the field of education and lots of workshops in this field. First, concerning 2020 year of comics, I would like to point the origins of this manifestation, which is a quite unprecedented operation in the history of the French Ministry of Culture. And I was missioned by the French Minister of Culture in 2018, if my memory is right, for a report concerning the national public policy about comics, because the comic section, I mean the comic has much been transformed in the last 20 years. And the minister, which was Françoise Nyssen at that time, wanted to have a general overview of all these transformations, and she wanted to have some propositions concerning a new policy about comics. And I made 54 propositions in this report, which I published in 2019 for the minister who has changed, because it was Franck Riester, just after Françoise Nyssen. And the first proposal was to organize a year of comics, kind of institutional manifestation, in order to give light on all the transformations that I pointed out, and what has become in France the comical field, with its diversification and the extraordinary creativity that has appeared in the 20 last years. And Franck Riester, so the French minister, decided that 2020 will be the year of comics. And of course, we had the COVID crisis, and he decided that this year will be prolongé, I don't find the right word in English, until the end of June 2021, which is a very good decision. Yes, extended, thank you. Which is a very good decision, because due to the COVID crisis, a lot of operations, a lot of manifestations couldn't take place in this kind of context. But anyway, I wanted to give you the main objectives of this year of comics, because what was in my mind, and in the mind afterwards, in the mind of the French minister, was that this year of comics could develop on 7 main dimensions. As I said, the principal objectives were to give a more important institutional recognition of comics, because since comics has known a very important and interesting artistic and economic development, in an institutional point of view, there are many progress that could take place in France. For instance, in the educational field, because comics is not recognized as a discipline, as something which can be transmitted and teach in the educational institution. And also at university, there are some researches that are made that progress, but it's not recognized as a discipline. As a research field à part entière, you know. And this, for instance, are important aspects of this necessity of institutional recognition. So I said 7 main dimensions. The first dimension is a popular and festive dimension. The minister and all the ministry wanted that this year was an opportunity to celebrate in a very grand public way, in a very popular way, all the different aspects of comics. For instance, the National Agency Centre National du Livre organized 5 operations in 5 big cities in France, in Bordeaux, Brest, Lille, Marseille, and Strasbourg, with free operations open to everybody, with workshops, with offers, and all these 5 operations will take place in autumn, they should have taken place during the spring, but due to COVID crisis, they will take place in autumn. In these popular and festive dimensions, we have an association with the national SNCF, national railways called SNCF, and they organized exhibitions in many railway stations during the month of January and February, just before the COVID crisis, in order to have maximum visibility in all these railway stations in big cities and in Paris as well. We also have a partnership with airports. So in 8 French airports, there will be in spring 2021. So it will be in the first semester of 2021. In 8 airports, French airports, there will be exhibitions on comics and planes to sum up the project. And we have also a partnership with the big medias and the French national television, the French national radio, and so on, to give the maximum visibility of this year of comics. The second dimension concerns authors and contemporary creation, which is a quite important dimension because, as you know, in France, there is, as I said, an incredible development, economical and artistic development, but the counterpart of this development, which is quite a paradox, is that the authors are in a very economical difficulties. There is a kind of precarity for authors, and so the minister wanted to give a special valorization to the authors. And for instance, there will be a big public commande publique. How do you say, Nicolas? Commande publique. Public commission, I think, with the National Center of Plastic Arts, which will take place in autumn, to about 12 works of art, which will be part of national collections. There will be also a lot of residencies with many different very important institutions, such as National Center of Heritage, with also Villa Médicis in Rome, also with different National Center of Cinema, to have at the same time to have a special operation with authors, but also a kind of dialogue with living authors with other parts of culture, such as cinema, such as heritage, such as music, because we also have a project with Philharmonie of Paris, with a residence and a work of creation in the permanent collection of Museum of Music in Paris, for instance. The third dimension concerns heritage and patrimonial valorization, with a lot of exhibition which will show the history of comics. For instance, in Mairie de Paris, National Picasso Museum in Paris, the Monet de Paris, which will have special operations concerning big names of the history of comics. For instance, Picasso, the exhibition on Picasso, which will open in autumn, will show the interest of Picasso in comics, and also the representation of Picasso in comics, in the history of comics. There will be as well exhibition concerning in big national institutions such as National Library, which will show parts of their own collections, and also in different big cities in France, which will put in light their own patrimonial collections, their own heritage collections to the public. The fourth dimension is the educational dimension, and this concerns a partnership with schools and with the Ministry of Education for several operations, and the most important of this operation is a national program of residencies all over the country, which will begin at the next rentrée. Comment est-ce qu'on dit rentrée, Nicolas? In September, and the idea is that we have in each department, in each each county district, I don't know the right word, at least one residence of comic authors in school, at school, which will begin in next September. There will be as well many specific operations and experimental operations in which will go further than this national program in different parts of the country. For instance, here at La Cité and with many schools, there will be very intensive residency that will permit very deep work with the pupils and the authors. And as I saw the question, it will be, yes, only French authors at the moment. But I have to say that when we have foreign authors at Maison des Auteurs, for instance, when we have in residence, and we will have foreign authors during the year of comics, we will have foreign authors. We organize interventions in schools. If the authors speaks a bit French, you know, we organize as autant qu'on peut, we organize this kind of operations. The fifth dimension is the academic and university dimension, because the idea was to show all the research programs, all the works that are made at university concerning comics, and we organized with Centre National du Livre many partnerships with Collège de France, with La Sorbonne, with the National Institute of Art History, with University of Poitiers, with University of Bordeaux, many partnerships and seminars, symposiums on different themes to show all these different research works that are made by more and more researcher since the last 20 years. The sixth dimension is, and it's important for you, is the international dimensions, because the year of comics has many international ramifications in French institutes, in Alliance Française, but also in foreign countries, foreign government, foreign cities. Local government decided to organize a specific operation during this year. I have an example in mind. For instance, in Croatia, in the Contemporary Museum of Art, there will be in next autumn, a great exhibition concerning the Balkanic history of comics. And so, and as well, not all, but many festivals in different countries decided, I mean, not only comics festivals, but also literary festival decided to have a specific aspect about comics due to this year of comics, this French year of comics. So that's very interesting because it has a real impact on our partners, because as Didier said, at La Cité we had about 20 international partnerships, and we made a kind of sensibilization of our partners to this year of comics in order to have this kind of operation and manifestations. What we intend as well is to organize an exhibition during the Francophonie Summit, which was about to take place, which was supposed to take place in December 2020, but due to the crisis, the COVID crisis, will take place in 2021. And at this occasion, we are preparing an exhibition on African comics in French. And we are waiting for the new dates, when this summit will take place, because this kind of exhibition is for us very important to show all the different developments of comics in Francophonie, in the world of Francophonie. And the seventh dimension is the professional dimensions, because as I said, there are many problems that emerged during these 20 last years concerning the situation of authors, concerning the alternative publishers, concerning the librarians, concerning the comment on dit libraire, bookshoppers. I mean, and so the idea is to organize a seminar during this year with all the professions to face all the different difficulties and to try to reflect and to invent new forms of words that could give right answers to all the problems that, as I said, this kind of paradox between a quite economic, a very bright economical development and the difficulties of authors, the economical difficulties of authors. So this is important to have these different moments with all the profession. So I sum up very rapidly the 7 different dimensions. What is important to have in mind is all the different operations. There will be big operations, and also there will be much more different scales operation, you know, because as well in the rural world there will be different operations. There will be residencies. I mean, at the moment we have more than 1,000 different manifestations which are programmed for this year of comic in all the country, as well as in overseas territories. And for us, it was important to have this diversity of manifestation and operations. Voilà, sorry for my English, which is quite difficult, but if you have questions, I will be delighted to give you some answer as precise as I can. But I've made I think an exhaustive presentation. I can answer to your question, more precise questions.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Do you have questions, remarks, something to share about Cite or about the 2020 year of comics in France, or the way comic books and all the artistic movement it creates is represented in France?
There is one question of Richard Foster, yes.
Hi, Pierre. Thanks for speaking to us. It was great to hear what's happening with the festival. And I suppose my surprise is, given how far comics have become part of French culture, I'm amazed to see that you still feel there's a role to be played during this year in terms of people recognizing the place cartoons and comics have to play in your cultural life. Is that the case? I mean, compared with the UK, we feel like you're light years ahead of us. Where do you hope to get to within the next year?
Of course, as you said, there will be an important development, but this institutional recognition is very recent, and it's not complete, you know. As I spoke of educational field, every teacher recognize the incredible efficiency of comics in learning to read, learning to analyze images and so on. But comics are not recognized. Comics offers don't take part of official programs, you know. So this recognition, this institutional recognition, has some limits. I mean, and the objective, the aim of 2020 year of comics is to have a next step concerning, for instance, education, but concerning university. If you compare cinema and comics at university, you have a very identified research center on cinema, you know, but that doesn't exist concerning comics in France. And it's surprising because cinema appeared 50 years after comics, you know? And this is one of the objectives of this year, is that to generate changes on this respect, on this point of view, and as well the existence of exhibitions concerning comics in museum is as well very recent, you know. At the Louvre or at Musée d'Orsay, it's very, very recent. It's in the 10 last years that it began to appear in such national institutions. So we have some progress in this respect to generate with this year of comics. But you're right. If we compare with other countries, of course, because France is one of the 2 or 3 markets in the world, you know, it's very important. The production has multiplied by 10 in the in the 30 last years. But there are still some difficulties that I pointed out concerning this recognition.
Thank you. We've got plenty of work to do to catch up with you.
Do you have other questions?
Yes, I would have one if I can. I'm Samuel from Hyderabad. Thank you very much for this overview. Just one small remark is that in the university where I was teaching in India, a colleague in the international relation department was using graphic novels to teach international relations. So that was quite interesting, and I hope that much more such syllabus will be developed. Now, my question was, is there some material in other languages than French, in English and other languages, which are going to be made available to, you know, promote French language graphic novel and comics? Because as we saw earlier in the day, it has grown, it has become a very important part of the publishing market, but it's still very much Western Euro-centric. I mean, mainly Belgium, France, a bit in Germany or Spain. And in many, including English-speaking countries such as India, the knowledge of this French-speaking production is still very low. And because it's just not available. I mean, people would know Joe Sacco, they know Asterix and Obelix. They have no idea that there is a huge French production on BD du Réel, and I'm sure there would be really a public and a market. So is there any plan to promote through some other languages than French, some translations, some videos, some whatever material possible?
So thank you for your question, which is quite interesting. We produced with Institut Français for the Frankfurt Fair in 2017, when France was invité d'honneur, an exhibition called La bande dessinée francophone, d'expression francophone, which gives this general picture of the French production during the 20 last years, and which has been quite diffusé, has been quite shown in, for instance, I was in Johannesburg in September because this exhibition was produced in the Johannesburg Art Gallery, and this exhibition as well has been shown in other countries, and I think it's a good introduction to this development of this diversification of comics in France and all the big names that appeared in the last 20 years. But as well, we can, with the Institut Français, we spoke of different didactic and tools, for instance, to have interventions of authors, you know, in live interventions for French authors to explain what is the essence of their work and their creative démarche. So we can imagine as well together the others material to help this promotion of the French production and the French extraordinary artistic diversity.
Merci.
Yeah, just to add on what Pierre mentioned. So we, Institut Français, through the network of Alliance Française and Institut Français abroad, is really promoting specific exhibitions. Some are made with Cite, some are made with publishers. We have one on children, comic books for children. very vivid creativity. And this is for Lina. It's really a woman leading this creativity in France. We have as well an exhibition on digital comic books and all the new formats. So there is a wide range of exhibitions that we can provide.
Other questions? Ah oui. Ah yes, I have maybe un complément. For instance, what we created, I spoke of Institut Français of Johannesburg and Afrique du Sud, and this exhibition, which began with the one we produced for the Frankfurt Fair in 2017. And it gave birth to a new project, which is quite interesting, of an online exhibition, a virtual exhibition, organizing a dialogue between French production and South African production. So for us, it's very interesting to have this kind of development, you know, because this dialogue is very rich for the public, but as well very rich for the authors themselves. It can create meetings with authors and, for instance, new projects. So the partnership that we can have with Institut Français in Paris, but as well in all the network, is very interesting when it gave birth to this kind of specific projects.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, I have a question. Now we're talking about, first of all, excuse me for my broken English. It's my French is worth better than my English, but well, I'd like to know, talking about the relation with other policies or measures, or how are you gonna manage with this extension of international year until 2021? What it's supposed to do with network abroad? I mean, are you planning new activities, new guidelines on what to do with bande dessinée during this year with the réseau abroad? I mean, are you planning about activities, guidelines? What are you thinking about it?
Very.
And if I could know more about exhibitions that you talked about, exhibitions for abroad. Thank you.
Very interesting question, because we have different kind of partnership. For instance, with some foreign partners, with some French institute, what they want is training, formation, specifically on comics, you know, for librarians, for how to organize a workshop with children and so on. We also have discussions and reflections and partnership concerning heritage, how to constitute patrimonial collections of original plates. You know, some of, for instance, in Serbia and in Croatia, we have this kind of discussion. We had also one discussion in Argentina concerning this kind of subjects. We also have a big part concerning the residencies and cross residencies, with to have in Angoulême at La Cite and Maison de l'Auteur to have programs of residencies, and to also to have French authors abroad in foreign structures. And we have, for instance, in Belgrade, in Serbia, but also with Taiwan, for instance, but a lot of in Bogota, Bogota, Mexico. What is the country? In Colombia, we have this kind of exchanges with offers with Mexico as well, and so on. So we have different types of partnership. It depends of the needs of the specific policies that are developed in the foreign countries, but we are very attentive to organize a specific partnership. You know, it depends of the different needs. But I've said, I mean, we have three main specific fields: residencies, heritage, formation and training, but as well, as I said, with South Africa, kind of co-production of exhibitions. I saw Lina Heibier, and I'm happy to see her. We had, for instance, a very interesting co-production of exhibition on Arabic comics in Lina. I think it was in 2018, if memory is good, with very ambitious exhibition, which has a very interesting career. So we can imagine many different partnerships and many and very specific operations.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Pierre, can I ask you a question? Hello.
Of course.
How are you? I hope you're doing well. I just have a question about, so these projects, they're all decided and finished, or they are still ongoing because it has moved into 2021? They
are still ongoing. So every idea will be welcomed, and we will be very pleased if you have new ideas. It's interesting.
Fantastic. Okay, and they're all done through, I mean, if we go through the French Institute, or is it, or I mean the Ministry of Culture, I'm sorry, I meant the Ministry of Culture, or is there another venue to make the proposals?
No, I mean, I forgot to precise you that the ministry decided that Centre National du Livre and Cite Internationale du Livre were responsible to organize this year of comics. So we have a double venue, Centre National du Livre and Cite Internationale. We work together for the organization of this year of comics.
Okay. And the last question, that's very good. Thank you for answering that, Pierre, because it's very important. The last question is so is there funding from the government for this? I mean, that is allocated?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
To help with the projects. Okay. Thank you so much. Those are my questions.
Hello, maybe just a comment on my side as well. So I'm Selene, I'm from the French Institute in South Africa. So first of all, thank you very much for the current project that we're working on, and we're very enthusiastic about what it's going to be. And yeah, just a comment on actually when we are in an English-speaking country, I feel that sometimes this can be an issue also to promote French-speaking authors, especially as we don't necessarily know them and know whether they're comfortable in speaking in English or working on workshops in English. And I think it would be an interesting resource, at least, to know more or less when working with you. For instance, the exhibition last year was a great example to know also which authors we can, get in touch with basically for this kind of events.
Yes, absolutely. This is important that you point out this this aspect, and it's important for us to add this kind of information and this kind of need. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So as I said, don't hesitate to have new ideas concerning the year of comics, because since the minister decided to have a semester in 2021, everything is possible, you know, to have new manifestations, new operations. We will be very pleased to help you, Centre National du Livre and Cite Internationale de la Bande Dessinée, to organize new operations. It's not late at all. Everything is possible at the moment. Alors, I see a question concerning my contact. It's a question, or concerning the year of comics. You know, you want a mail address concerning what is the exact question? Okay. Okay, I will give you my address. Okay, no problem. No more questions?
Well, if there are no more questions on behalf of the French Institute, we will say a great thank you to you, Pierre, and we'll meet again with all the French Cultural Network for last session at 5. And thanks very much to the Cite Internationale de la Bande Dessinée and de l'Image for the cooperation organizing all these sessions. And see you later.
There is another video from Cite about the residencies starting at now, actually, with Phil Munoz, the head of Maison des Auteurs. So for people interested in residency, she will explain. It's now, actually.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
I hope I see you very soon.